You're telling me they're here again? Commander Alera's voice cracked through the static-laden comms, her tone a mix of disbelief and exasperation. Yes, ma'am, replied Lieutenant Harris, his voice taut with urgency. We've detected multiple unidentified vessels entering low Earth orbit. Same configuration as the ones we engaged last month. Alera pinched the bridge of her nose, leaning heavily on the edge of the command table. The room around her buzzed with activity, technicians and analysts racing to decipher the incoming data. And the Council's response? She asked, already dreading the answer. They're debating, Harris admitted hesitantly. Debating? Alera's voice rose. While half the galaxy is treating us like a free-for-all genetic buffet, what exactly is there to debate? They're concerned about provoking an interstellar war, Harris explained, though his tone suggested he didn't agree. They're hoping diplomacy might still work. Diplomacy? Alera let out a sharp laugh. Diplomacy ended the moment the Zalari started harvesting entire towns for their experiments. Or did they forget about Kansas City? Harris's silence was answer enough. Alera straightened, her decision made. Patch me through to General O'Rourke. If the Council won't act, we will. As Harris relayed her orders, Alera's mind raced. The incursions had started subtly. A missing person here, an unexplained phenomenon there. But over the past year, the truth had become undeniable. Humanity was under siege. Alien factions, each with their own motives, had set their sights on Earth's DNA. Some sought it for medical breakthroughs, others for weapons research, and a few for reasons no one could yet comprehend. The comm crackled again, this time with O'Rourke's gravelly voice. Alera, what's the situation? Bad, she replied bluntly. We've got multiple bogies in orbit, likely prepping for another ground incursion. The Council's dragging their feet as usual. I need authorization to mobilize the defense grid. Consider it done, O'Rourke said without hesitation. But be warned, intel suggests the Zalari aren't the only players this time. We've picked up chatter about the Dravosh and the Tquan forming a temporary alliance. Alera's stomach tightened. The Zalari were bad enough on their own, with their advanced cloaking tech and ruthless tactics. The Dravosh, with their brute force approach, and the Tquan, masters of biological manipulation, added a whole new level of complexity to the threat. Understood, she said. We'll hold the line. As the connection ended, Alera turned to her team. You heard the general. Activate the defense grid and scramble all available units. I want every soldier, pilot, and scientist ready for what's coming. The room erupted into motion, but Alera lingered for a moment, staring at the holographic display of Earth spinning serenely in the center of the room. How had it come to this? A planet that had once seemed so vast and invincible now felt small and vulnerable, its very essence up for grabs in a cosmic tug-of-war. Commander, Harris's voice pulled her from her thoughts. Incoming transmission from the Zalari. Alera's eyes narrowed. Put it through. The hologram shifted, replaced by the image of a Zalari envoy. Its elongated, silver-hued face was devoid of emotion, its eyes like liquid mercury. Humans, it began. Its voice is smooth, synthetic monotone. We offer you a choice. Cooperate, and we will spare your species unnecessary suffering. Resist, and we will take what we need by force. Alera's lips curled into a defiant smile. Funny, I was about to say the same thing to you. The envoy tilted its head, as if puzzled by her audacity. You misunderstand your position. You cannot win this fight. Maybe not, Alera conceded. But we can make you bleed. She ended the transmission before the envoy could respond, her heart pounding. Turning back to her team, she raised her voice. You all heard that. They think we're weak. Let's show them how wrong they are. Meanwhile, aboard the Zalari mothership, the envoy turned to its second-in-command, a younger Zalari with iridescent scales that shimmered faintly in the dim light of the command chamber. Their defiance is intriguing, the envoy mused, but futile. Dispatch the extraction units. Begin with their urban centers. As you command, the second-in-command replied, its voice tinged with a hint of curiosity. But what of the Dravosh and Tquan? They will not wait idly while we claim the prize. The envoy's eyes gleamed. Let them come. We will remind them why the Zalari are the dominant force in this galaxy. Far from the Zalari vessel, in the deep reaches of space, a Dravash warlord named Gordhak pounded a massive, clawed fist on the armrest of his command throne. The Zalari think they can take what is rightfully ours, he roared, his voice echoing through the bridge. Prepare the assault cruisers. We'll crush them and claim the humans for ourselves. Beside him, a Tquan scientist named Valera observed with detached interest. Her translucent, jelly-like form pulsed with faint bioluminescence as she spoke. The humans are more valuable alive than dead, Gordhak. Try not to destroy everything in your usual fervor. Gordhak growled but didn't argue. The alliance between their species was tenuous at best, born of necessity rather than trust. Still, both understood the stakes. Humanity's DNA held secrets that could shift the balance of power in the galaxy, if they could seize it before their rivals. Back on Earth, Alara stood in the war room, watching as reports poured in of alien landings across the globe. The Zalari weren't alone. Dravash warships had been spotted over Europe, and strange, organic pods, undoubtedly Tquan, were appearing in the Pacific. "Commander," Harris said, his voice grim, "it's not just us anymore. The aliens are fighting each other." Alara's eyes narrowed. "Good. Let them tear each other apart. We'll pick up the pieces." But even as she said the words, she knew it wouldn't be that simple. Humanity was caught in the crossfire of a war it could barely comprehend, and survival would require more than just courage. It would take ingenuity, sacrifice, and a willingness to fight like never before. The tension in the war room was palpable as Alara formulated a plan. She knew Earth's survival hinged on exploiting the alien faction's rivalry. But how could humanity turn their advanced technology and relentless determination against them? "Commander," a voice called out, breaking her train of thought. It was Dr. Naomi Patel, one of the lead scientists in the genetics division. Her face was pale, but her eyes gleamed with urgency. "I think we have a way to level the playing field." Alara motioned for her to continue. "I'm listening." Dr. Patel placed a small device on the table, its surface pulsing with a faint blue glow. "This is a prototype bioscrambler. It's designed to disrupt the genetic manipulation tech used by the Zalari and Tquan. If deployed correctly, it could render their extraction processes useless." Alara's eyebrows shot up. "That's incredible. But how do we deploy it?" Patel hesitated. "It's untested. We'd need to get it into the heart of their operations, likely their ships or ground facilities. And it's risky. If the device is damaged, it could have catastrophic effects." Alara considered the implications. The idea of sabotaging the aliens' efforts was tempting, but the risks were immense. Still, they had no other choice. "We'll make it work. Harris, I want a team prepped for insertion." "Volunteers only." Harris nodded, his expression grim. "Yes, ma'am." On the Zalari mothership, the envoy received an unexpected communication from one of its scouts. "The humans are mobilizing," the scout reported. "Their resistance is more coordinated than anticipated." The envoy's metallic face remained impassive, but its tone carried a hint of frustration. "They are insignificant. Focus on the extraction. The council demands results." "But there's another complication," the scout added. "Dravash forces have engaged our units near the extraction zones. The Tquan are deploying biopods in contested areas." The envoy's silver eyes flickered. "So, the scavengers and the parasites think they can challenge us. Deploy the fleet. We'll crush them both." Meanwhile, in the Pacific Ocean, Valera, the Tquan scientist, observed the chaos with detached fascination. Her biopods were spreading rapidly, each one a living organism designed to infiltrate and analyze human DNA. But the humans were proving more resilient than expected, and the interference from the Zalari and Dravash complicated matters. A subordinate approached, its gelatinous form quivering. "Valera, the Zalari have deployed countermeasures. The humans are resisting fiercely. Should we retreat?" Valera's translucent body glowed faintly. "No. Adapt. Send additional pods to areas where resistance is weakest, and prepare the contingency plan. If we cannot extract their DNA, we will ensure no one else can." In Europe, Gordhak stood on the bridge of his warship, watching as his forces clashed with Solari drones in the skies above Paris. The humans below scrambled for cover, their primitive weapons barely making a dent in the alien technology. "Commander," one of his lieutenants growled, "the Solari are pushing back. We need reinforcements." Gordhak bared his teeth in a savage grin. "Let them push. We'll hit them harder. Deploy the Berserkers." The Berserkers, genetically enhanced Dravash warriors, were unleashed, descending on the battlefield like a storm. But even as Gordhak reveled in the carnage, he couldn't shake the feeling that the humans were more than they seemed. Their defiance, their ingenuity, it was unlike anything he'd encountered. Back in the war room, Alara's team finalized their plan. A small strike force, equipped with the Bioscrambler, would infiltrate a Zolari extraction site in the Nevada desert. At the same time, human forces would exploit the chaos caused by the alien infighting to reclaim key territories. As the team prepared for the mission, Alara addressed them. "You're not just fighting for Earth. You're fighting for the future of humanity. Our survival depends on you. Make them regret ever coming here." The team saluted, determination etched on their faces. As they boarded the transport, Alara watched them go, a mix of pride and dread in her heart. The strike force's mission was a desperate gamble, but it paid off. The Bioscrambler was activated, disrupting the Zolari's extraction efforts and forcing them to retreat. The Tuan and Dravash, now unable to extract DNA themselves, turned on each other with renewed ferocity. But the victory came at a cost. Many lives were lost, and Earth's defenses were stretched to the breaking point. Alara knew this was only the beginning. The aliens would regroup, and the battle for humanity's DNA was far from over. As she stood in the war room, watching the holographic map of Earth, she made a silent vow. "We'll fight. No matter what it takes, we'll fight." And so, humanity braced for the next wave, determined to prove that their DNA and their spirit was worth fighting for.